So today's game is going to be a multiplayer game playing a bridge too far. Is it bridge too far? Pegasus bridge? Pegasus bridge. It's a bridge anyway. So we've got one there.
The other bridge a bit further in.
Bit further in, yeah. And we've got another bridge at that end. So it's another big game that we played months ago. So we're going to have another go this time. Going to change some of the rules that we've got. The Germans are going to have some on the table, some in reserve, and they're going to be able to activate possibly with a slight modification. So I think we're running three players apiece this time around in this one. So there's some winter Germans over there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Maybe you can treat it white.
Yeah, you can see them quite happily. Yeah, unless they're standing against that White House. Yeah, so a few gliders. I think we've got 2 gliders made up and painted, so they'll be coming in. So yeah, should be some fun. So we set up for another game of Pegasus Bridge, and what we decided on this one was to do a few tweaks to our initial game that we played probably about 5 months ago now. And what we learnt from that game was that the gliders landed a bit too far back to be able to disgorge their troops to get a good chance of getting in. We also thought that having all the Germans on the table was a bit of a mistake as well, because it made a very strong line for the defenders. So in this game we decided that the gliders could deploy further forward, that the defenders would have some units on table, others in reserve, and then paratroopers, when they came in, they had to do the stick formation, random deployment, randomise the direction. And what we decided on that was, again with the same with the gliders, would be to use a directional dice, one of the old GW dices, use that, and then it would vary it in the front arc. So that's how we went with those. That seemed to work quite well. The defenders, again, we used the ploy of pins to see how reactive they were. So we all rolled off those at the beginning of the game to give a chance there. So that went reasonably well as well. One of the things that we did realise that didn't go so well as the game progressed on is that Gary put all his troops on the front line by the defended bridge. That caused him a little bit of trouble, and we wondered whether he was going to remain the whole game. So that's something we need to think about next time. Didn't have enough people using parachutists. Again, we'll have to look at that, perhaps dividing up 50-50 glider, 50-50 paratroops. But anyway, hey, these are some of the pictures of the armies that we took. Only 3 of them, sorry, but just something to give you to look at as I ramble on about some of the rules changes that we had. So, eyes down, and let's get into the game. Hope you enjoy it. So, table set up, and we've got German deployment holding the bridge at this end. These are Gary's Germans. And we'll be looking at the gliders to come in for the first turn. What we have got is my air landing scout team down here on this side to take the bridge. And forward deploying some little troopers from spotters. So we're going to be running in for the gliders to come in. End of turn 1, and the paratroopers and allies have deployed out. So they're just in contact with the bridge this side. Germans are deploying on. There is a penalty for the Germans deploying, and it's -2 on their reserve roll to come in. So those they have passed their test. These ones, a number haven't. So they're just waking up. So more deployment out of the gliders here. The Germans on this side, we used a preparatory bombardment which only put pins on units, just to make an idea of the surprise element coming in. So the Germans now are waking up. There was a bit of firing. One unit went on ambush because they didn't get in very many pins, and they caused 1 casualty to one of the paratroop units that was coming out. So we're going to move into turn 2 now. There are some paratroopers still not arrived, which are going to be arriving by jumping. So we'll see how they play out and how they land. Always a bit random as they come in. So moving into turn 2. End of turn 2. And the Germans have come on. Little sneaky move by the motorcycle crew to drive up to try and take the jeep off the bridge. only put a pin on, which was quite handy. So that was quite fortunate. However, the Captain Grad has brought on the light artillery piece for the Fallschirmjägers here, and they're advancing up. The mortar team's lost a man due to the sniper, but he's ranged in on a 4 or a 5 next time on the sniper team in the woods, who are over there. So on this side I had one paratroop stick come in, which was quite useful. They're landed there, so they might die by this unit here. My second paratroop squad that was dropping in failed to come in, so they might come in next time. The anti-tank gunner's moved up on the road, and he took a shot at the Jeep but missed. Paratroops on the hedge line there are moving along, trying to get enough troops to take the bridge, but we're not quite sure there. Allies in the centre here are moving up on this right hand side. These landed by parachute. The others debussed from the gliders. The artillery here has ranged in on the mortar team of the Germans behind the wall, needing a 5 next time. The mortar team, where are they? There they are. Have ranged in on this unit here, but they've advanced to get out of the way. But that did cause some trouble, so it did help the little paratroop unit down here. On the far side we've got the British paratroopers trying to get a foothold onto the bridge, and they've whittled down the German Fallschirmjäger squad pretty far there, but they have taken some casualties themselves. Still got the meter machine gun up there, possibly a flamethrower team hiding down there with the officer, not sure. So yep, German reserves coming on this side to bolster, because the German player in the middle is taking a bit of a hammering. These have lasted quite well, this Fallschirmjäger unit. They've been flamethrowered, passed their leadership test, they've been shot at with a small mortar, but they're still there. Heavy armour has come on for the Germans with the Flavorling, and that's not been able to do any shot, didn't hit this time around. Bit too far, a bit too difficult for it. So end of turn 2. Yeah, not too bad. It's starting to look like it's a bit of an advantage to the British for the moment. End of the turn, and I did lose a Jeep, which was very sad. John was very lucky with that. I didn't recce out the way far enough, and he rolled 4 6s, then transferred one of those into a 6 to damage, and then rolled a 6 on the damage chart, and that was gone. So over on the bridge, moving up the paratroopers to get a bit more secure footing. However, the Germans are moving up to do the same on the other side. Bit of a strong point for the Germans over here, with the light gun now, and the mortar's still there. Officer hiding away behind the back part here, of course. Over here, my parachute stick, second parachute stick, failed to come in again. So failed on a 12 the first time, failed on an 11 the second time. I've managed to whittle down the paratroopers to 3 there, but then John brought his others on and did a little bit of damage on the British paratroops, but they're still there, and hopefully I might get a go with them on the next turn if I get a good dice roll. In the centre here, as you say, artillery piece is still firing away. On this hand side, the Americans are pushing up into the centre. Germans have advanced forward to get away from the mortar barrage. British paras on the bridge, which is quite good. Still some Germans on there though. British foobarred away 1 unit, which was a bit of a shame. Caused a bit of trouble, otherwise there would have been 2 units on the bridge, but it's working there. German reinforcements flying up, coming up the road. This one's really caused a bit of trouble with the 4 autocannons. And then over here, the Germans are still stubborn and standing off as the British try to take it. So, yeah, still in the balance. Both bridges being contested. So, end of turn 4, I think it is. And the Germans have had mixed fortunes. They lost a unit to the right-hand side of the bridge, but have advanced up an infantry unit and the motorcycle combination, and have whittled down the paratroopers quite significantly. So the bridge is still being contested. The Americans have come up with a jeep, and we've got a flamethrower team behind the jeep that might be useful, but probably too far out. Sniper's still hanging on. The parachute stick came in and took 2 casualties from the German unit that turned to face them. They were quite lucky there. So if we get a first dice out, we might have a chance of doing some damage to the units there. So we'll have to wait and see. On the farther side, there was a bit of a mix and match over here, and both units got wiped out. But the Germans are still holding this position on the field. The Germans and Americans and the British still fighting away at the bridgehead here, and the Allies are pushing up a lot of troops onto the bridge. Germans are trying to counter on this side, but getting a pincer movement coming round on this flank. German defence mobilised, and there is a unit moving up on the bridge and protecting the flanks. On this side, the German paratroop unit has finally been dispatched, and the British may be able to do a little something, unless the Fleveling takes them out. So we're going to go into turn 5, and probably the last one. So we'll see if anything can be done with the bridges. So calling a game at the end, and
compared to previous battles, it's an allied win.
yeah, I think they've probably imbalanced more the Allies win here, isn't it really? Although the bridge here, I've got 3 para units, and we've got an American jeep on the bridge to John's, 3 paratroopers left and a motorcycle. So we've got more men to the bridge there. We've got a unit of paras on this side, Fallschirmjäger unit there. The artillery piece went because I got a good shot on it with my mortar. That went. John has got over here his medium machine gun and German unit left, but I think we could have that bridge next turn if we went on. This bridge, however, cool. It's in the balance. We've got the paras on the bridge. We've got Americans approaching the bridge. More Americans on that side moving up, and Gary sadly has only got 3 troops left out of his 1,000 points. Oh, a medic and his Panzerschreck man still here. So he still has got a couple of bits. And Adam over here has been advancing his men up on the bridge, but Mark has been whittling them down somewhat. So yeah, interesting on there. Who would take that bridge at the end? I think probably the Americans coming up as reinforcements could do a bit of weight of force and possibly take the Germans. Yeah, I think as you say, the flak veering, should have been in the middle to cover that bridge.
Yeah, it had too many Germans in the way to start with. So it would have
Yeah, that was the trouble, wasn't it? Yeah, the Germans in the way. So overall, they've worked quite well this time around. Things that we pick up and learn to do for next games, but seem to work reasonably well this time around. So yeah, excellent day.
Well played by everyone.
Well, another really good day at Lost Ark Games and the Stevenage Landsers Bolt Action gaming group. Some good people there, having a lot of fun, and we certainly had a good day's fun to playing this Pegasus game. I think there was a pivotal point at turn 4 where you can see we had 6 Allies dice coming out to 1 German. That allowed the Allies to activate quite a few troops and to get a bit of momentum going. Surprising, as always in Bolt Action, because there was 12 dice to 14 dice to 12 for the Germans, I think. That was the case. But anyway, yeah, how we work it with the dice is that we look at who's got the biggest army list on each side, and we put that number of dice in the bag. And then once we start the game, we start pulling the dice out, and it's always the same number of dice in the bag. We don't take any out. That's how it is. So when you get past a certain point and you haven't got any more units to use, then you just drop out, and then the dice come out and they're activated by the people who still have got units to go. That worked quite well. This was the small bridge being contested. Had quite a lot of paratroops against the remaining motorcyclist and infantry unit there. I was able to put another unit, small unit, a flamethrower team of paratroopers onto the bridge as well. There's a jeep there. I've got my sniper very close by, and there's another American unit and a bazooka team coming close to the bridge. I don't think John had very much in reserve. I think he had 2 rifle squads and an anti-tank rifle left at this point. So he was going to find it very difficult to stop us from getting to the far side of the bridge and holding it. So yeah, it was a good tough battle on this side. Mostly John and myself with our 1,000 points of paras against Fallschirmjägers again. So that was working quite well. At the other end, as you can see here, we've got the paratroopers now on the bridge. So it's 2 units of paratroopers. There was a real setback when one of the paratrooper players for the Allies rolled a foobar, and that unit would have been on the bridge, but it made them go 12 inches backwards, and we didn't really recover from that until sort of turn 5, when they were able to get back up onto the bridge. As you can see here, there's quite a lot of troops. There's an American unit coming up to the edge of the bridge as well, and on the bridge for the Germans is a depleted unit of here, and another unit on the far side of the bridge walkway. Those weren't going to be enough to hold back the Allies pushing them across the river. So I think if we'd gone into turn 6, it would have been Allies holding both bridges and the Germans unable to really counter-attack in any strength to push them off. So yeah, a really good game. A couple of things that we'll tweak next time, but I think we've got it nailed down now for this. Really good game, very enjoyable. Getting the troops out and all the people playing it. Lots of fun. So thank you very much for watching. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Share with your friends if you think they might like it. Subscribe if you haven't. And we look forward to seeing you in the next video. So take care.